Your Humanities Half Hour is brought to you by the Northern Marianas Humanities Council, navigating the human experience together.
Hapade Tiro, and welcome to Your Humanities Half Hour. I'm Catherine Perry, and today we are taking a trip to Tonga with Veisinia Tilisa Mafi. Veisinia, babe, so
Hi,
nice
Kathy.
to see you.
Yes, nice to see you.
You look beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming to share with us about Tonga.
Yes.
I had asked
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. I had asked you originally to share some stories and legends, and you actually have brought a little bit of a history lesson for us today, which is so
Yes.
great.
Yeah.
Start us off with assuming that I think most people in our community know where Tonga is, but for those who may not, tell us a little bit about the country.
All right. Well, thank you, Kathy, again, and it is my honor to be here and talk about my country. Although I lived in this island for a long, long time, but I always, anything I am doing or anything that I always want people to know where I'm from. Although sometimes people say, where are you from? I mean, probably they can tell by the way I talk, and they ask, where are you from? And before I answer, I'm from Tonga, they will say, are you from Chuk? I don't know, but anyway, thank you so much for having me. And Tonga, I can say that Tonga is a Christian country. And not only that, but Tonga is a very, compared to Saipan, we see mountains and stuff like that here on island. I can say that it is a very flat land, very flat. Countries, we don't have mountains.
Wow.
We often say that the only mountain that we carried around is our heart, so I don't know why people say that the mountain is in our heart, but we grow up to hear that the mountain, we don't have mountain, but the mountain is in our heart. So and Tonga is a very friendly island. People, if you, it's almost like Saipan, people are very friendly, and we have our own language and we have our own money. We call it Paanga, and we rule by a king. I guess is the only country in the Pacific that have a king. And Tonga is also one of the country in the Pacific that was never colonized by any other country.
Really?
Yes. If you want to know more, you can Google and read the history of our country. So,
about how many islands make up Tonga?
I am not too sure how many islands. If I can, I'm guessing probably 169 small islands. But apart from those small islands, there are 5 big islands. Tonga is not just one island. It's almost like Saipan. There is Rora, there is Tinian that are part of. Although Rora and Tinian are very small island compared to Saipan, but Tonga, we have the mainland and we have other 4 countries that are also part of calling calling it as part of Tonga, although they have the different name for those islands.
4 other islands
Yes.
that are considered part of the mainland,
island,
so to
yes.
say.
Yeah.
And you're part of Polynesia.
Yes,
which
we are
is why you
Polynesian
look
country.
so lovely today. Sorry.
Thank you.
So this lesson that you wanted to share today is
Yes.
related to the kingdom
Yes.
and how the kingdom came about.
Yes. Let me start in the 70s. I believe he was born 1779. It was a darkest time in my country. Like I mentioned before, that for all these different islands, they were just fighting. It's a civil war. They don't fight with outside country, but they fought among each other, you know, and the kings that wanted to, and each country have their own king or their own leader. So each leader wanted to capture each other country to take over, I think, and that's where the problem is. And Tonga, at the time, it was a very sad story. People live in the darkness, and not only that, but what we had that day is not like how it is at this time, you know, that you go to the farm and work in the farm and you own what you planted. Before, it wasn't like that. People who work hard to eat and to survive, but yet if the leaders want anything, they will just take it. And that goes on to their children. You know, we had stories that parents, especially when they have daughters, if a baby girl born, and they live with this fear because knowing they will not, if they grow up and if a king or a leader will like, they will just take her. You know, they don't have authority over their children or over what they're working hard for. You know, and and it was, like I say, it was a very sad time. You know, you don't even want to imagine, or you don't want to be bad and live in a time like that, you know. And even I'm a Tongan, but I'm so grateful that I was born in a time that the country is changed. So this young warrior, his name is George Osiaosi in Tonga. He is our first king. Although there were a king before him, but when things changed, he fought to unite. He wasn't fight to just win for himself. What he was trying to do is to unite the whole country.
Do you know how he went about doing that?
His mother was in the mainland, and during the time of pregnancy, she was so scared for her life. So they, in the history and the story, it says that she ran away. She ran away to the other island where I come from. We call it Hapai. You know, it's a small island. Let's just say maybe like Rhoda. So she ran away there and stayed for protection under those leader of Hapai group at the time. And so the main leader from the mainland, he wanted to capture Hapai, or he wanted to bring Hapai under his authority. You know. And at the time, King Tupo I, he's already a young man, growing up a young man, and he challenged that. You know, I'm very emotional. He challenged that. He said, if you want this island, you can come down here for a clean fight. You know, like a clean fight, clean war. You know. And so the leader from the mainland, this is the main Tonga Tapu where you know, like. So he traveled with his armies and the people that supported him to Hapai, and there was a place that was set for him and this young guy.
Was it going to be like a one-on-one battle?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So and they fought, and the guy from our island, he won. So when he won, meaning he's taking over the mainland. You know, the bigger islands, like let's just say Saipan, he take over the mainland, because not only that he won that, but his follower or the people that supported him from Hapai, they also take over by killing those that follows. You know, and he not only that, but he went also to another country called Vava'u. The leaders of Vava'u was just also challenging him, you know, and he went there and fought, and he won. And when he won, at the same time, the missionary was able to come into the land, and he...
Because he allowed them?
Yes. Before they were killed by our leaders, you know, and he asked them, show me if your God is real. You know, he did tell to the missionaries there, show me if your God is real. If your God is real, I will follow, you know. And it was like they're from Europe, and one of them he went over to the ocean with an umbrella, and then he put it down, and then he said something, if my God is real, the sea will come and just stop right where the umbrella is, and instead of going, over. So, and that actually what was happened. So he believed that their God is real, because at the time, I believe people were just praying. I've heard stories that they prayed to the shark, like a fish, or they prayed to a tree, or they prayed to the moon. They were just praying to anything that they think it is a god, or maybe to their own leaders they pray, And so he, from that moment on, he dedicated the whole country. And there's a place called Powono in that countries in Mavao that called Powono. It is where he came and lift up the Bible and put a piece of land, of soil on top of the Bible. And he said that God and Tonga is my inheritance. And he dedicated it. He dedicated the country to God, and he said, there's no other country that can protect this, the country of Tonga, but God alone. At the time, he accepted God in his life, and he even told the people to not pray to any other God apart from the God that this missionary brought, And so that's when people started to change. And not only that, but he also gave freedom to people to own whatever they work for, and he's not allowing the noble to take whatever the commoner own, and if they want to get married to or to someone that owned by the commoner, they will have to ask, And so he brought light into the countries, and it was I believe that and then the people of Tonga, and then there was one island he didn't go to capture, because the people from that island, or the warriors from that island called Eua, that they helped him to capture the leader of Vava'u. And there was a leader from Vava'u. He ran away to Fiji. And in the history of our stories, that when he went to Vava'u, that leader, his name Ma'afu, when he went to Fiji, he started to do the same thing that they are doing in Tonga, like to just fight and own this island and move to another island and fought and own that island. And he started to do that. And there is an island in Fiji called Lau. Lau is mostly Tongan people there. They do the same thing that we do because of this Tongan man, And the leader of Fiji at the time, he know that if he cannot stop this Tongan man, he will capture the whole island, because he's coming, and his story is he's taking over this land, and he's taking over, and he's taking over. And so he was so afraid, and he sent word to our king, to our first king, to George Tupo the First, when people put him to be the first king instead of there's a king here, there's a king here, because he united the whole country, and he gave the freedom for the people, especially the commoner. You own what you work for. Your children belongs to you, and no one from the noble or the royal family will come and take your children from you. So it was also a holiday for the day that he gave freedom to the people of Tonga. It's still a holiday now in our country. And so back to the story of what happening in Fiji, the leader of Fiji at the time, when he realized that this Tongan warrior from Vava'u or from Tonga, if he cannot stop him, he will take over the whole. Could you imagine if we have Fiji under our country? I used to tease the Fijian. Anyway, so he sent word to our first king, to George Tupo the First, and asked him for help. So he traveled. He traveled to Fiji, and he finally met this Tongan man, and he said, "This is enough." I am very emotional when I talk, but he said, "This is enough. Your war is between you and me. That these people is not part of it. Leave these people alone." So at the time, the other Tongan man, he knows, because he knows, and he also, the reason why he ran away from Tonga, because he was afraid for his life, for George Tupo, and George Tupo said to him, you can come back to Tonga, because that's where you belong. You don't belong here, and so there are other people, there are other islands in Fiji, like the Lau group. They are very much our people that went there, and they're doing the same thing that we are doing. And so we know, when we meet somebody and they say, oh, I'm from Laos, we know, that's the Tongan people that was traveled in the ancient time to Fiji and to stay in Laos for that time. So what Tupo our first king did was totally a freedom for our country, and we are so grateful that he came and he accepted the Lord as his savior. And not only that, but he helped the people to turn from that darkness, from praying into from praying into a tree, or praying for the moon, or calling moon as their god, or any other thing that they call God, that make them to turn to pray to the God who is alive and who is real. And that's where we are at this point. We call our country a Christian country, and I believe Tonga is the only island probably in the Pacific or the whole world that keep Sunday as a holy day, like a day to only go to church, come home and eat your lunch and sleep. And then you wake up and go to church and come back. We don't play game on Sunday, like how we go play soccer here, on Sunday. We don't do that. We don't go to a beach for party. We don't do that on Sunday. We don't go swim on Sunday, and we don't do any other thing. Stores are closed on Sunday. Any other business closed on Sunday. The airport closed on Sunday. Anything that is about business or anything, it's closed. The only thing is open in Tonga is the main police station, of course, and the main fire station, and the hospital. And then, of course, the church is open on Sunday. So it's a day of going to church, and then come home, eat and sleep.
I remember when I attended the Festival of Pacific Arts a number of years ago. On Sunday, there were certain countries whose booths were not open. And Tonga, and I think Samoa, maybe Fiji. I can't remember everybody, but it sounds like definitely Tonga was one of them.
Yeah, we don't do business on Sunday. And let's just say Saturday is a day that you prepare for your food for Sunday. So you have to provide your onion, your salt, and all that. And if Sunday come, you forgot to buy your salt, you can borrow salt from the neighbor, but because there's no store open to buy salt, or you just eat the food without salt, So, and I too love, and we still live the same life as it is today, And I do love it. Although they make that Sunday as a very different day. That is a day for people to rest, and it's a day for people to go to church and just come home, and it's mostly like a day just to be with your family. You don't go around so.
Well, we're chatting today with Veisinia Tilisa Mafi about life in Tonga, and we'll be back with more after this break.
Hafaday, Zantiro. I'm Leo Pangilinan with the Northern Marianas Humanities Council. We'd like to take a moment to thank our generous sponsors who have made possible the many programs in our community like this show. We couldn't have done it without them. And if you value the work we do and would like to make a contribution to our efforts, we ask that you consider making an in-kind or cash contribution to the Northern Marianas Humanities Council. Any amount is appreciated, and donations of up to $5,000 qualify for an educational tax credit. We appreciate your partnership and support. Sidhus Maasi, Olomai, and thank you.
Welcome back. Vei, what
Yes.
are some of the important values in Tongan life or for a Tongan individual?
Yes.
What do you think, what are you raised to think is important when you're growing up?
As a Tongan girl growing up back home, as we are raised to, of course, to know God first. You know, it's most important things in everybody's life. And if you grow up and don't go to church, that's your own choices. But as a young child back home, they taught us about God. They take us to church on Sunday. When Sunday comes, it's not a day to sleep. It's a day to go to church. You know, of course, that's always number one things back home, or the most value things in our life is that we acknowledge God in our life, and we want God to be part of our daily life. And the second thing that I can say that is very important back home is we taught to respect. We respect our elders. When I talk about respect, we respect our aunties, our dad, sister. We can say that by blood that they're higher than us. Like my dad's sisters, by blood, her children are higher than me. You know. And
Are you a matrilineal culture? Like land is passed down through the women, or you associate more with your mother's family?
Our countries, well, of course, land passed down, but passed down to the only eldest son.
Okay.
Yeah, not women don't own land back home.
Okay.
That make it difficult for me, because for me, I am the only child. You know, my parents don't have a son, and I don't have other siblings except I'm the only child. And so when it's come to land, I cannot own the land that belongs to my dad, because no women own any land back home. It always goes and travel or passed down by the eldest son. And so, but there's something that the government give an authority, to people like me who don't have a brother, that we can write a letter and authorize anyone to own the land that belongs to my, and not only that, our country also, like, I can just use myself as an example. We don't give land, or we don't give a passport to the Tongan women who married a foreigner, and their children, even if their children born in Tonga. You know, like here,
They would not be considered Tongan citizens?
no.
They would be considered the citizenship of the
their
father.
father, yeah. And that's and I'm an example for that, because I marry a Samoan, and one of my child born in Tonga, so the country didn't give any passport for her, but I have to apply a passport through her dad. Yeah. Anyway, and talking about respect, so it's one of the things that we value back home. We really do, like I said, that we respect the elders, and we respect our dad's sisters, and we like a brother and sisters in a family. There is this great respect, and I do love it. We respect our brothers and our sisters in the family. How can I say? You know, nowadays people will just talk in a way that they say
Anything.
anything. You know, like an F word is not so hard to say right in front of your sisters. It's a no-no for our culture.
It sounds like you don't really hear a lot of profanity in Tonga.
Yeah, we do not. That is disrespect. Yeah, and if you say any word that any bad word at all in front of your sister, that is so disrespect. Your father will beat you down. You know, like, you know, you get a good bit of your life if you ever say that. And that's how respect is. When we grow up, we see our dad and our aunties sit together and talk. You will never hear any word that come out of their mouth that is like a guest or anything at all, you know. And so
How do most of the people make their living?
most of the people make their living by, that's a good question. People work so hard, you know. The women's will do weave and stuff like that and sell it to get money. And the men will go out, work in the farm doing plantation. And then when they get that crops, they will sell it overseas. Because nowadays our people, our Tongan people who live overseas, they want to help our people back home by bringing containers of food, like daro, you know, like, and Tonga also is a country that I think we are the only Pacific island that we don't really eat rice because we have so much crops back home. You know, that's our rice. Our taro, our yam, our sweet potato, we have that back home because our land, we have a very good land. And so rice is not something we eat, you know, and so people plant tapioca and all. You go to the market and you see that every day. And so, and because that's not enough to sell back home, because almost everybody will have a plantation, right? So our relative of Tongan people who live overseas, they want to help the Tongan people by bringing their crops to sell overseas in a better price, you know. So there will be like containers and containers sending overseas, that like to Australia, America, and New Zealand, that is full of taro, tapioca, any other crops people back home they do. So that's how also another way of people supporting themselves or helping themselves. And we also have the pumpkin. It's one of the biggest business back home. You know, I went to one of the store here and I saw one very small pumpkin. You know, like, and I look at it, you know, like. Remember the privilege you have back home. You have the big pumpkin, very nice. I'm talking about the round green one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I look at that one, and I'm like, that one we throw it to our pig. We, you know, we don't eat that. That's too small. But talking about pumpkin is also one of the plantation that people get good money from it. And Japan, we do sell it to the country of Japan. They get a lot of our pumpkin from us. Yeah.
That must mean it's good quality if Japan is buying.
Yes, yes. So like, you know how pumpkin come in a different size, and so the people who do the marketing, they already know and teach the people which one is good, which one is not good, and this more size, like the one I saw it at a store here, that is we don't get that one. That one goes for our pig, you know, like our pig. Just enjoy
Don't say that. We're eating it.
I know, but Tonga, the crops back home is good. Yeah. We when I first came here about 16 years ago, I had a hard time trying to eat the rice, you know, and I'm like, and you know, our cooking banana here, we love our cooking banana. Like me right now, I love the cooking banana, you know, but for the cooking banana here is also the banana we feed our pig with. We don't eat that. We have a different banana that we plan to eat, but mostly we eat taro, we eat yam. So when I came here, I had a hard time trying to eat rice, so I always get the banana here. You know, and I tell the story to my cousin and say, "Oh man, I'm like the pig. I'm eating the banana here." But that's how rich the country and the people back home when it's come to plantation and crops.
Root crops, yeah.
And
I really want to thank you for sharing today. I know that obviously you have a great passion for your homeland. You're getting emotional there where you're telling the history. Any final thoughts before we go?
Well, if you want to go and visit the island of Tonga, we have a beautiful place called Wava'u, and there is the whale. You know, if you want to see and swim with the whales, you can do that back home in Tonga. And people will take you there and they will guide you and show you how to swim with the whales. Yeah.
And hopefully feed you some taro and
yes.
sweet potato
so
and
if you go to Tonga, you
pumpkin
need to,
that's not too small.
yeah, you will eat a lot of good taro there. So
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Our guest today has been Veisinia Tilisa Mafi, sharing about her homeland of Tonga so well, so eloquently, and a little bit of history, a little bit of culture, a little bit of food today. This has been your Humanities Half Hour. I'm Catherine Perry.
Your Humanities Half Hour has been made possible in part by a major grant from the National Endowment for the Humanities. Democracy demands wisdom. Any views, findings, conclusions, or recommendations expressed in this program do not necessarily represent those of the National Endowment for the Humanities. For more information or to share your thoughts, contact the Northern Marianas Humanities Council at nmhcouncil.org or on social media at 670 Humanities. That's 670 Humanities.